It all begins with this. We're gonna make such a mess today. I love when people ask me to ruin their games. I think we gotta dig through this, so we're gonna dig through this one chop at a time. And with that, we've created a donut. And we found a wonderful big cavern. Yeah, that's nice. I'm busy picking plants. I have a massive respect for the local ecosystem. I want it to flourish under my care. Well, unlike in the real world, these plants actually have a use. They actually create light, but they'll probably grow back in a few hundred years. I'm supposed to inspect production terminal Lima. So all I need are 15 iron ore and 15 copper ores. Luckily I stole some stuff on my way out so I can make a few mining drills already. Basically what I hear from this is I'm going to need more iron to make more drills. And I would assume this is iron. So we just need to place it in a spot where it's happy. Then it's going to get to work as soon as I fuel it. You can have some plant matter. I knew the local wildlife would have some kind of use. We're going to burn it for mining. I'm going to put another one of those there, and we're also going to feed it some plants. And then we'll stop by occasionally to take the iron out of it to turn into more drills. This environment is not going to appreciate me. That looks like copper. Doing this as efficiently as always, we're going to place two of those side by side and feed them some plants. But that also tells me I'm going to need a lot more plants. Now by the time we're done doing that, we actually have quite a bit of iron. And I found more stuff in more storage chests. I know we're probably supposed to store stuff in here, but I like taking stuff out. And we have the iron we need so far, so you get in there, now we just need that copper. The plant gathering is so satisfying. Okay, there's 33 copper and this one has 32. So we'll give it some of that. And we've unlocked new technologies. That sounds like something I could live with. Now I need to create a bunch of purple cores. 7 of them. So we're going to need another 2. I'm also supposed to make a scanner, so we're going to go ahead and put that in our hotbar. Now we've got to go around finding everything I need to scan. But we're going to learn a lot about this stuff and we're able to presumably remove the scraps. Or we at least learn what these are and we're able to build them. So I feel like I need to scan the right thing because I need to be able to make copper wire. Also didn't notice that little guy before. Not sure what that was, but I think I found what I need back here. Anytime there's chests, I'm happy because that stuff I don't need to make, I can just take. Plus there's a lot more plant matter back here to feed my very hungry drills. I found copper wire in the chest. That means I can make 2 more of those things so I can plonk those down. Now I can activate this smelter. I'm going to make 2 of these for now. 1 for copper, 1 for iron. And I'm going to put them here where they're probably going to be super annoying. So you can have 250 of those and you can have 250 of those. And I'll come back and find you in a bit when you're worth my time. I feel like I'm just endlessly going to need plant matter. Plant matter is going to fuel everything. Eventually I'm sure we'll find a better fuel source, but for now they're eating plants. And we can chew away the very rock that makes up this world if we need a little more space. It turns out gathering plant matter is super easy so far, so fuel is not going to be in any short supply. And we've already smelted about 50 of each of these guys, so we could definitely make whatever we're supposed to make now. The production terminal needs some help, so that's what I'm here for. We're going to go ahead and upgrade that. That gave us new technology. So now we have a storage container, an inserter, and a conveyor belt. And now it wants more bars, plus all of that other stuff. Conveyors might actually be pretty easy to build, which would be lovely because we're probably going to have a lot of conveyors. I'm just going to make 1 of each of these because I can't remember how many I needed and I'm too lazy to count. Those can go there. We still need another 30 conveyors, 4 inserters, blah, blah, blah. We'll just keep building till we're there. 1 more inserter. That's all we need. That's made from 7 mechanical components. Those are made from 2 copper and 3 iron. So we just need to take more bars out of the thing. Then as soon as we're done crafting, perfect. And we can once again upgrade our terminal. I noticed the drills stopped working. That's because they're full, 250. So what we need are inserters. And then we put some conveyor belts to try and put all that stuff together. So then so far the ore is going to come out of the machines and into this little condenser thing. And then we're going to go into a smelter. We just need to give it some plant food. This is all really intuitive actually. It's all very easy to start putting together because normally I would struggle immensely to do this. Now we're automatically smelting stuff. I'm kind of wondering at this point if we could just put the inserter straight into a storage. I think we probably can. And that would save me some conveyors. Yep, he's going to go ahead and put stuff directly in there. So we're going to mine, everything's going to get backed up eventually, but right now everything's going into storage. So it's a one-stop shop. And we've got a long ways to go of all sorts of different stuff we can build. But for now, I'm also going to try and fix this up so it's not quite so horrible. Because I can have 2 inserters working off the 2 conveyors, that way it should be double the production. Then on the other side, same thing, we put another inserter in there and he should hopefully start reaching and pulling stuff out of there. It also might not be able to produce things fast enough for it to have 2 of them working, but that's okay, it's good to have friends. So while everything's working away smelting me some bars, I'm going to get some more plant souls. Well, it was only a matter of time before I started building obnoxiously long conveyors. But I just sort of figured that would help me to keep everything organized. Now everything comes into one spot, so I only need to check one spot when I want more stuff. Pretty sure eventually I'm going to be able to utilize all of this space for some mad workshop. The machine told me there's a life sign somewhere out there, presumably that way. Well, this operation is pretty self-sufficient now, so let's go find the beacon. That'll give me more opportunity to harvest more plants. Which led me to a place where I can sleep. Clearly they're hiding the good stuff in there. I wandered to somewhere where I don't think I'm supposed to be, but I found a chest for my effort, which is full of whatever these are. So the game wants you to explore and get hopelessly lost in piles of boxes. But I did also find a fast inserter, make your own jokes there, crank generator, and advanced circuit 20. I should probably have my scanner out at all times to find all the treasures. Casualties detected. Can I have his parts? He's not using them anymore. Guess I'll just sort of take some stuff and be on my way then. This one looks particularly important. I gotta do what now? Scan this? Got it. Conveyor belt Mark II. I like the sound of that, and all sorts of goodies. Apparently now I need to go over there, so I need a mole. Before doing that, I wanted to see how many bars I'd made while I've been waiting, 66 and 120 that is. So I made enough of the purple thing so I can make the mole. Pretty sure I'm going to enjoy any game that gives me a black hole to play with. Because you're going to shoot it at the wall, and I think it's actually going to tear that all down. Yeah, that's fun. So now we don't need to worry about getting lost, because we'll just follow our tunnel to and from where we're going. And it seems to work pretty quickly. You just point in a straight line and hold it down and off we go. We're going tunneling. While I was messing around with my new toy, we made another 41 and 24. I think we're going to need to up our production of those things. So I'm going to put another smelter here, and I'm going to put more copper things going into it. I assume that's actually mining the ore. It looks like it is, so we'll assume it's happy. Then I feed that ore along the conveyor, it goes into there. I've squeezed another one of these in here. We're going to give it 500 plant food, and I'm hoping my next sorter can put it over to there. Had to make just a few small changes, but now it works. We got those two drills also going into the smelter. We just need to put them into storage from there. We haven't quite worked out the technology to have these morons hand things directly to each other, so they're going to place it down on a single conveyor and they're going to use teamwork. But now we're going to have lots of copper and iron because I assume I'm going to need oodles of it. I think ultimately this is going to be the fastest way of doing it. They turn and put it onto a straight conveyor that just feeds straight into one of these guys. And then when the bars finally do spit out the other side, they're going to join the other conveyor and get sent to my mega storage. The downside of having all of these things working is I'm going to need to harvest more plants. Got everything up and running, now I just sit back and relax and let the bars roll in. Then by the time I'm ready to make something new, I have way too many resources and I can do it easily. This thing is actually backing up. But that's also a very good problem to have. If need be, we'll put an extra grabby boy over there. Looks like I'm gonna need another grabby hand sooner than later. I mean, it's not my finest work, but if it works, then I won't complain one little bit. I've also discovered limestone. I'm not entirely sure what it does yet, but I'm trying to find out. So far I've learned we can mine it, but not smelt it. So for now, we're going to do just that, and we can still store it for later use. This also doubles as a staircase. My conveyor skills leave a little bit to be desired if we ran into a wall. But that's why I got a black hole machine. No more walls, no more problems. So I just turned the conveyor to go that way and go into that thing for now. You can never have too much, stuff. Some of my original things are starting to run out of fuel already, so I need to be sure to check on them all. But coming back here, I got 200 of each kind of bar plus 38 whatever that is. I'm definitely curious to see what happens if I just keep mining in one direction for a while. I have found something called dense rock, and I had to tunnel that far to get it so far. I've mined to here so far, and I don't see anything on the minimap, so I'm going to assume there's nothing close by at least. But if I have a need for an obnoxiously long tunnel later, well, it's already created. And since all my drills are happily working away, we're going to go find what that thing is finally. I did find a big mossy cavern full of all sorts of wildlife. This is going to fuel my machines forever. There's also a million things to scan while I'm gathering, but I'm mostly just here for the wildlife. This big cavern is nice to look at and bright. We might be able to build something here. Depending on what this thing wants, but here's a free upgrade. What are we going to get? M.O.L.E flatten, so we can flatten the ground. This thing actually wants 500 coppers, which I happen to have on me. I figured we'd need some at some point, and lots of iron, which we don't quite have enough of, but we will soon. Back at home base, I realize now that I get limestone just from mining with the black hole machine, so we probably don't need to carry all that around. Naturally, the best way to update my base is to bring everything from this base on conveyor over to the new base. This is no doubt a very big waste of resources and way more time consuming than it needs to be. I'm going to set up a storage right here because we're not really sure how yet we're going to utilize this area. The main thing is I'm getting pretty good at making conveyors. I make them very efficiently and I get them to where they're going in very short order. Plus now I don't continually have to walk back and forth to get stuff, it all comes straight to me. I think we've more than satisfied whatever this machine wants. Terminal repaired. So it recommended me I build a core composer next because that will auto-generate cores on my behalf. I also need crank generators for 10 cores, so we need to make a lot of cores. So we need mechanical components definitely to make some of those, and mechanical components we will be able to make a lot of once we get more bars. Now I need to make what's called a power floor, so we're going to put that over here where it blocks a nice river. And then to unlock something new, I'm going to need more of these. I was going to try and build myself up a tower of them, but the game won't seem to let me do that at this moment. But I can actually leapfrog my way along up them, and I created a lot of these, so we might as well use them. Now that I placed a bunch of purples, I have a crank generator and crank connector. It's going to put them together if they're placed in a row. So we should be able to put them side by side as soon as I make some more. And I just need to check it every 5 minutes to crank it up, and then it runs by itself, which is fantastic. I also found a big iron vein over here on the side of this area, plus some more crap I can scan for free stuff. Those were assembler fragments, and that might be the last, so I can actually assemble stuff automatically if I want, and we have more copper, so I can have a really big production going soon. I've also built my first assembler. We're going to put it over there to see what it can actually build for us. Now, our beloved conveyors are made out of 3 mechanical components. This machine can make mechanical components, and it can do it quickly. So I'm going to start emptying this chest straight onto a conveyor, where it was trying to play hard to get, but I think I've got it now to where I can put a little grabby hand to pull that stuff in there. It's going to be hard to remember also to crank that every once in a while, so now it's just going to endlessly make these, which are going to turn into more conveyors, which we obviously need. So then in typical super convoluted fashion, we're going to feed our stuff right back into the box. The game literally just told me keep making those conveyor belts, so I've got to oblige. So here come the new gears. They're about to be picked up and stuffed back into the box, where we can take them out and turn them into conveyor belts. Look at how quickly they're being produced. This is great. But that definitely also has me wondering, if I make another assembler, can I use it to make conveyors? And yes, I can. Basically, all I need to do is put one of those there and one of those there, and they'll start handing gears into this thing, and we still got the power for that, provided I keep this thing cranked up. So the ore gets mined, gets smelted, gets moved to here, where it gets turned into those parts, which gets turned into conveyors. This thing's output is already full, so I'm going to go ahead and borrow some of these, because now we can properly send them back to where they need to go. So the conveyors will get created automatically and store themselves in this chest. I see part of the problem now too is that if I put them back into this storage, they try and take themselves out of storage to go back around in a loop. So we're going to go like that instead. Conveyors get made, they go in here. This is a conveyor only container for now. And it seems to be making them fairly quickly, and that I'm happy about. Because I'm a little bit curious to see how many conveyors the game can handle. It seems really good so far, but conveyors don't actually need any power, so you can make really long, big, stupid conveyors actually really easily. I would assume the game is able to handle a lot of conveyors running at once, but we'll see if we can put that to the test. We'll see how quickly we can create them, and then how many we can place. Basically, while I made that little run, it gave me another 140, which is quite a few. And just to make sure we're building these on schedule, I've made another conveyor to feed parts into the machine making the conveyors. Yes, it's all getting quite convoluted quite quickly, but it's gonna work out fine. Like, we've already made another 270 conveyors, so if we really manage to kick the production up a little bit more even, we'll be laughing. Because to go from one side of this map to the other takes 391 minus 250, so it's about 140 across. This one's decided to float its way along because it's going right above another one by happy accident. So that we get to here, we can turn and go that way, and then we can, build that all in, and there we go. Several hundred conveyors for no reason at all. But the question is, do they replenish themselves as fast as I use them? They actually might. Well, so far so good. The game did lag just a touch when I placed that conveyor, but that's because it wrapped around the world several times. And by the time I'm done, here's another 200 conveyors, which is pretty quick. Okay, I'm really starting to appreciate the ease of building and conveyors in this, because I could just go like that, and it gets built in all sorts of spaghetti patterns, and we could just make this thing go everywhere. To make this process even faster, I've made another assembler that's also going to make conveyor belts. I've even managed to bring the conveyor from somewhere over there to bring more of the parts or whatever over. So long story short, we're producing these at twice the rate we just were. And our ore production is still well ahead of how many conveyor belts we can create, because we probably still have a backlog sitting here of 60 iron. This is quickly getting to the point where I can't find the end of my conveyor anymore. They've acknowledged my conveyor belts at this point, so they're pretty happy with what I'm doing. And if you really want to get crazy with it, you sort of just can. Bit by bit, we're getting there. Now even the game's starting to get confused with what to do. It's very good with its pathfinding, but once you put it way down into the trenches here, it has no idea what to do with this anymore. This is so satisfying. You can just keep going and going with it, and it just finds its own route through the mess. The game really loves it when you finally place it and let it all get into action. I actually kind of lost track of where the end is, and I don't know what happened here. It actually cut through itself at one point. I didn't know it would do that. Looks like it actually did that in a few places. It just started cutting itself apart, apparently. I didn't intentionally do that, at least. I'm really impressed with the game so far. It's quite easy to make all these conveyors, and the game's still acting perfectly fine. Albeit there's not anything moving on those conveyors aside from myself, yet. It's actually still getting a little bit unhappy at this point, which is really weird. I have no idea what its problem would be. Another round of conveyors later, I've gotten the game to hiccup really hard a few times, but it hasn't crashed and the frame rate still seems perfectly fine. I don't know if there's 10,000 conveyors here in total, but there legitimately might be, so I tried. Thanks to Techtonica for sponsoring me to do this to their game.